Hello everybody, Shinjo here and welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to be talking about my top 10 anime of 2022. I'm back on doing this after missing last year, but rest assured this is going to be hopefully a yearly thing. And obviously there's still some anime airing from the fall season, but I waited till at least half of the show is out before I made a concrete opinion about them. So let's get started with some ground rules. First one, I'm only discussing shows that I've watched. Obviously, I can't realistically rank shows that I haven't watched. Next thing, I'm not discussing sequels in any way. If I did, then this list will be flooded with sequels, because there are so many good ones this year. Mob Psycho and My Hero airing right now, Love is War earlier on in the year, and I'm sure there's some other ones that I missed. But let's get started. Barely making it in at number 10 is ya boy Conming. I discussed this for Let's Talk Anime a while ago, and I came back to watch the show just to see if there was anything new that I missed from the 3 episodes that I have watched. And it's an interesting concept, it's an interesting show for sure. It's just not something that I personally cared about a lot. There are definitely some good parts about it, but I just didn't like how every episode was Conming doing his own thing, and when Eiko asks him about it, he just says, "You'll know soon enough, my young child." And he just purposely keeps things super vague. I just didn't like that. That's the biggest gripe that I have with the show, but as far as Eiko as a character, I really liked her. The fact that it's at least a top 10, given how wacky this show is definitely a testament to it. Another anime that's kind of surprised me is Call of the Night. So this is one that aired earlier on this year, although I think when I discussed it for the seasonal anime videos that I do, I just didn't care for it because there are so many anime focused around vampires that are airing, and the only thing that I really liked about it was the OP and ED. Those things are amazing. But for what it's worth, it's a cool show, definitely an interesting premise. And between this and your boy Conming, they're the only two in this video that I didn't actually finish that I could have realistically finished. So if there would be any between these two that I would come back to, it would be this rather than Conming, which is why it's above it. At number 8, we have Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. I'm actually really glad that I can discuss this because it did technically air this year, so it's fair game. It's an interesting spin. I feel at the same time the fact that it's so reliant on Seven's cameos or parallel dimension versions of Seven's characters is kind of holding it back, because then it feels like every character has to be a variant of Luke or Yuga or Gakuto, and it's just kind of making the characters that are brand new kind of irrelevant. Not to mention, there are a lot of episodes that don't even have duels in it early on, which isn't necessarily bad, but there are just a lot of episodes that you could realistically skip. Obviously, I don't expect Go Rush to be finished by the end of the year, but from what I've seen so far, it's definitely a solid show. There are just some minor grievances that I have with it, but it's still early on in production. Now, this is going to be one that's going to upset a lot of people. Number 7 is Chainsaw Man. So, somebody wanted me to discuss this for Let's Talk Anime. I haven't recorded that yet, but I'll more or less save my thoughts for it later. But just to keep it brief, it's one of those shows that everybody hyped up, and after I watched it, I just didn't really care. Obviously, based off of the fan-made opening that I made, it gives me vibes of Jujutsu Kaisen, where a normal person, more or less, gets supernatural powers, but just as a concept, I just didn't really care. It might be because it was so overhyped by people that when I got around to watching it, it just kind of fell flat. I don't know, at the same time, super gory action stuff doesn't really mesh well with me, and the characters all just feel like they're purposefully being jerks for the most part. I don't know, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think. I might be wrong. I'll get my thoughts out better for my Let's Talk Anime episode. Definite surprise entry, and one I didn't expect to be this high up on the list, is Akebi's sailor uniform. This came out at the very start of the year. I remember watching it just for my own personal enjoyment. I even discussed it in Let's Talk Anime. It was just really gorgeously done. Obviously, Cloverworks has a history of stuff like that, but just the fact that everything could just be used as a phone wallpaper or even a computer wallpaper or anything is just telling for the show's design as a whole. But at the same time, Akebi as a character is really cool. I didn't expect that she would be so enjoyable because I just assumed bubbly character, kind of dim-witted, but there's a lot more to her character. One thing I remember is in the episode she wanted to hear her friend play a guitar, and Akebi finally got to hear her friend play the guitar. She didn't react in any way when her friend was playing the guitar. She just sat there quietly, just minding her own business, not saying anything. And that's really cool in a way because I just assumed that she would react in some way or gasp really loudly or do something obnoxious, but no, she just kind of minded her own business. At the same time, the show's definitely cookie cutter. It gives me vibes of Komi, except Komi is an extrovert instead. But I don't know, there's just some complexity to Akebi's character that I didn't expect that I would see. Right in the middle of this list is Bocchi the Rock. Obviously, this along with Go Rush are exceptions that I can't watch the whole show because the whole show isn't out. But Bocchi the Rock is probably my favorite from this year. There might be like sequels, but I think this is my absolute favorite from this season, I should say. It's a nice spin on the let's make a band sort of genre that K-On! Popularized back in the day. Instead of Yui, the extroverted character that she is, we have Bocchi that's just so awkward and out there and doesn't know how to make friends in any way, and I love her interactions because she makes a point to say that she's not a perfect person and everything's more or less just played for comedic effect. The characters are really fun. Even someone like the blue hair character, which can't remember her name, even the other characters for that matter. I don't really care about them as much, but I still like their interactions with Bocchi. Because there are just some times that they get those snide remarks and it just is golden. The dialogue with this show is absolutely amazing and I just love this show. The fact that we have a pink-haired character that's not bubbly and energetic is certainly a nice change. Number 4, we have Licorice Recoil. This is one I didn't expect to like as much as I did. I did watch the first couple of episodes back when it was airing, but it kind of fell to the wayside at that point. Then recently when I found out that there was a dub, I came back to it and binged everything as quickly as I possibly could. It's a really cool show. There are definitely a lot of twists and turns with what you think is going to happen, but it's definitely neat. Chisato is a really fun character. Being the bubbly, energetic character, you wouldn't think that she would have so much complexity, but she just really does. All the characters are fun in their own right, and the action definitely holds up. I would say this is my personal recommendation for anybody that needs to watch anything from this year that's easily digestible. Number 3, we have Spy Family. So this is cheating in a way because it's airing right now, but it also aired earlier this year, so it got a double dose of showing what it can actually do with the story. No secret that I love Spy Family. It's another one that people were hyping up like Chainsaw Man, but unlike Chainsaw Man, I actually really like this one. Sorry, Chainsaw Man fans. I just like the concept of this, how Lloyd is basically forced into finding a family, and through as random circumstances that you can find, has Anya as a kid adopted, and just randomly finds Yor, and just it worked out perfectly. Hey, I need you to be my wife. Well, I need you to be my boyfriend for this party I'm going to. This is a contrived setting and I love it so much. Even Bond, who doesn't say anything at all, is a really fun addition to the family, considering we have a spy, assassin, a telepath, and someone who can read the future. Even for a show like this where the action is definitely the top of the tier, I think Anya personally steals the show. There are just so many moments that I love from Anya. That kid was worried about leaving the school in the most recent episodes, and Anya's just in the background, and she just goes, "I have this leaf that I found on the ground." There are just some lines with her that are just so hilarious. The reason it's not higher is I've noticed a lot of the recent episodes are filler-ish, where nothing really happens, and that just kind of ruins it a bit, but at the same time, it's one of those shows where filler isn't necessarily an issue, because I like the characters, but I wish that there would be more development with the story. Number 2, we have Love After World Domination. This is another show that is really wild, because this calls out to my inner child that always watched Power Rangers growing up, and this is just basically Power Rangers, but romantic instead. And there's nothing more that you can ask for with this. I remember I watched the first couple of episodes, and then I just proceeded to binge the rest of the episodes when I had time at work. It is just a really fun show, and granted, not a lot happens within the context of the show. The fact that the characters have so many different interactions with each other, and even Fudo and Decimi as characters are really fun as well. And even the background characters that don't get to do much are still really fun. But only one anime can be at the top of the list, and that anime is Summertime Render. I don't think I've been ever invested in a show as much as this one this year. Just really cool. It's got that nice mystery sort of vibe, and the more pieces that you piece together, you realize how things connect and how everything works together. Really like this show. And going back to what I said about Go Rush, I didn't think that I would enjoy a show so much where the VA for Gakuto and Tanjiro is the lead, but I just love this show. It is definitely a weird picture looking at the poster without any context, but I don't want to spoil anything from this show. If you're really interested, I would highly recommend you watch the first couple of episodes, even the first episode, because it really gets you invested. The way everything plays out, how everything works out in the end, is just really cool, and outside of sequels, this is my favorite of the entire year. Oh, there's my top 10 anime of this year. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. Let me know what your favorites were from this year. If you enjoy, hit that like button down below, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you next time. Momentai.